Blender has a whole series of really great drawing tools inside the application itself. And I wanted to take a second and talk about how we can use the guide system to very quickly allow us to, plot down some lines and some shapes based off of some pretty neat parameters. Now, the Blender guides, if you will, are really designed to give us some blockout shapes to help us establish some planes and some lines almost programmatically. So it's not designed to be a free-form drawing tool, although you certainly could. It's really designed for us to use a series of parameters to influence the angle and placement of some very specific drawing strokes inside of our animation. So let's go ahead and turn it on. In order to work with the drawing guides, you have to be in draw mode. And as one might imagine, we have to activate the tool first. And you can find the Blender guides up here. It's this button inside the interface. There's actually two different things that we need to look at. There's a toggle, which is the first button, and then we have a pull-down menu which will allow us to select and change the type of guide that we're going to use. So let's just do it real fast. I'm in the simple draw tool. Let's activate the guides and look at the options that are inside of the menu itself. So there's a whole bunch, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but there are certainly some winners in here, like circular, for example. As one might imagine, it's just going to allow us to draw a circle around the origin point of that object itself. Now, some of these guides have some parameters, some customization parameters down here. So I could do custom and make my own center point, or I could do it at the object, for example. It just allows us to make a circle around a location. Now, the radius of that circle depends entirely on where we first click. Let's go back to cursor. Now the 3D cursor is this orange thing, and if I click way out here, you can see that my circular stroke is over there. However, if I click more toward the interior of that object, or the origin point of this object, you can see that my guide, or my circle, is going to have a different dimension. So it's just a really quick way of creating a circle around a defined point. Now in addition, the other ones that are pretty neat are parallel. Now with parallel, you have an angle here that you get to adjust. So maybe when you're plotting out your animation, you know that you want to have, a line specifically at 15 degrees. Well, check it out. Now, I can create a whole series of parallel lines at 15 degrees. And it doesn't matter which direction you pull your mouse on. It's always going to be 15 degrees, in that slope. I'm actually dragging down right now from the top to the bottom inside of my computer screen, or on my tablet, excuse me. And you can see that it's still making a 15-degree angle, which is pretty neat. Now the difference between parallel and isometric is subtle. It still uses this angle, but now we can have it be 15 degrees in both directions. So I can continue doing it this way, but check it out. Now if I do a downward stroke, I can do it that way. It allows us to very quickly block out some isometric lines. So it's pretty neat, just a different way of approaching the creation of our shapes. The grids I find incredibly useful, because now I can just create very quickly my own grid, both vertically and horizontally. So it's just a neat way of very quickly making some predefined stroke shapes inside of our Blender universe. And I think that I find them incredibly useful, especially when I'm doing the layout, the planning for all of my animations. I use these isometric ones all the time to very quickly establish the illusion of a three-dimensional plane inside of my scene itself. And they're just very useful, and I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that it's there, because I find them to be just a wonderful addition to our drawing toolset.